cannot be set for a man if a man is using it.
Greetings and welcome everyone coming in. This is Songs There, Health, Psychology, Beauty. And this is Crown Conversations. My name is April E. Diggs. I am the owner here at Songs There, Health, Psychology, Beauty, where we deal with those three main factors. Health being the foundation for thriving, growing healthy hair. And trichology, the study of the scalp, the study of the hair, and specializing in the areas of hair loss, thinning, scalp diseases, and scalp disorders. Welcome in, everyone. It's good to see you. This is April E. Diggs. I am the owner here at Songs There, Health, Trichology, Beauty, okay? And we deal with the health as it pertains to the hair and why people are experiencing different issues such as hair loss, different alopecias, and different scalp disorders such as psoriasis, dermatitis, and making the connection with the body as far as what's going on in the hair and scalp, and dealing with it holistically, okay? To improve our quality of lives and to improve our health, okay? Which is the foundation for all beauty, okay? If it's healthy, it's gonna be beautiful, okay? So that's what our focus is here. Last time in Crown Conversations, we did discuss the nervous system and how it's so responsible for so many things and is the number one reason why we're experiencing so much hair loss and thinning and scalp disorders in our community. So we did discuss the different factors that are impacting the nervous system, and we did discuss different ways to help balance the nervous system in such a stressful environment, okay? So today we're going to be discussing the hormones, okay? And the hormones, another way to say the hormones is the endocrine system of the body. The endocrine system is the body's chemical communication network, okay? Chemical communication network, that is the hormones, okay? Which is the endocrine system, Hormones travel through the bloodstream, carrying messages that tell our hair follicles when to grow, rest, or shed. Okay? So again, hormones travel through the bloodstream and carry direct messages telling the hair follicles when to grow, rest, and when to shed. Okay, so the hormones play a very important part. The endocrine system as a whole plays a very important part in hair growth. Okay. So again, like I did say, hormones are chemical messengers produced by the endocrine glands, okay? And they influence nearly every cell in the body. Hair follicles have hormone receptors, okay? So let's get into what is the endocrine system. Because last time, if you do remember, we discussed in Crown Conversations the nervous system and how it has two parts and how intricate the nervous system is and how much work it has to put out to keep the body's organs functioning properly. Okay? Now we're getting into another very intricate system of the body, which is the endocrine system. The endocrine system consists of many different glands, okay? And each hair follicle holds hormonal receptors, okay? So this is why it's so important for us to recognize that hair is just not cosmetic, okay? Hair actually tells the story of what is going on internally, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and pull out the Trichology Bible to get started today, okay? Because we always want to educate ourselves on the body systems. Last time we did cover the nervous system, and we learned all the details and intricacies of how the nervous system works. Okay? So now we're going to get into the details of the endocrine system, because a lot of times people talk about hormones and they know that they have imbalanced hormones and they know different things are going on, but they still are not well versed on what exactly that system is, what exactly the hormones, where they come from and what they regulate. Okay, so once we can know, have more knowledge of what's going on internally, it helps us to get a better idea of how to treat the issue holistically. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin reading here. The human body has two types of glands: exocrine glands that secrete fluids into a duct or a tube, and endocrine glands that release chemicals known as hormones into general circulation. Endocrine glands include the pituitary, pineal, thyroid, parathyroids, thymus, pancreas, adrenals, and sex glands, inclusive of the ovaries and the testes. The hormones they release regulate basic drives and emotions while promoting growth and sexual identity and controlling body temperature. They also help to repair broken tissue and generate energy. Okay? Let me just turn this down just a little bit, because it feels like I'm trying to struggle over the music. Okay. So again, the hormones, they release, regulate basic drives and emotions while promoting growth and sexual identity and controlling body temperature. They also help to repair broken tissue and generate energy. So we can see just from this paragraph alone, the hormones regulate the body's temperature. That's why a lot of times when women are going through menopause and perimenopausal symptoms, they'll get a lot of hot flashes, okay, because the hormones are imbalanced, okay, and so that's why a lot of times you'll experience that. So that makes a lot of sense, okay. The amount of hormones released by the endocrine glands depends on the body's needs. Levels change in response to infection, stress, and chemical imbalances. And blood composition. Hormones are regulated by control mechanisms within the body. The process is something like this. An endocrine gland secretes its hormone, and then the hormone travels to receptors on cells located within a particular tissue or organ. Again, let me repeat that, okay? Because more time the information can be very, very deep. So we need to repeat so it can really stick and that we're really processing the information, okay? The process is something like this. An endocrine gland secretes its hormone, okay? So one part of the endocrine system secretes its hormone, and then the hormone travels to receptors on cells located within a particular tissue or organ, okay? The tissue or organ is then able to carry out its function. However, when the level of activity of the tissue or organ becomes too high, there is a negative feedback to the gland that tells it to cut back on production and secretion of this hormone. Okay, so if there's any negative feedback going to these receptors, then here is where you will find the hormonal issues, the hormonal imbalances. Okay, let's discuss some of the factors in glandular health. The endocrine system functions best when it has ample stores of minerals, particularly trace minerals. For example, the thyroid gland maintains proper metabolic rates and levels of body fluids when it has ample iodine. Similarly, the pancreas, which controls blood sugar levels, needs chromium. Eating foods rich in trace minerals helps support the body's glandular functions. Again, let me say that again. Eating foods rich in trace minerals help support the body's glandular functions, okay? And again, the glandular functions would be your hormones, okay? Bless up yourself, Father, Teacher Cool. Bless up yourself. Unfortunately, many foods that are a mainstay of the modern diet are devoid of trace minerals. This is due in part to the depletion of soil and the effects of processing. For example, raw sugar loses 94% of its chromium and 89% of its manganese during processing. Likewise, as wheat processed into flour, it loses 50% of its chromium and 86% of its manganese. Nutritional supplements rich in trace minerals, when taken with a well-balanced diet, help ensure the endocrine system gets the nutritional elements it needs to function properly. Okay? So we can see here from this paragraph that the endocrine system really thrives off of trace minerals. Okay? And we can also see that a lot of the foods that we consume may start with a lot of nutrients, but once the processing process has began, then we see that a lot of those nutrients have in fact been taken out of the food, and those vital minerals have been taken out of the food once the food has been processed. Okay, so this can be very disruptive to the endocrine system, to the glandular system, to the hormones as a whole. Okay, let's go into the first glandular system in the endocrine system, the pituitary gland. The pituitary is roughly the size of a pea. The front lobe produces hormones that stimulate the thyroid, adrenals, testes, and ovaries, encourage the growth of the body, and stimulate the secretion of milk in a mother's breast. Growth hormone affects almost every tissue in the body by regulating the amount of nutrients taken into cells. Too much growth hormone results in gigantism in children, while too little causes dwarfism. The immediate part of the pituitary may be involved with melanin secretion, which affects skin color. The back lobe produces a hormone that causes the uterus to contract during childbirth and then stimulates the production of milk in the mammary glands. It also produces another hormone that regulates the retention of water by the kidneys. Okay, so we can see here that the pituitary gland is responsible for a lot of things, namely the hormone that regulates milk production in women. And this one is so very important. The melanin in our skin, the pituitary gland determines what the color of our skin will be. Okay, so these are very, very important receptors in the endocrine system. Okay. The pituitary is also regulates the growth hormone. So this will determine whether you will be a tall person, whether you will be a short person, and if there's too much or too little of this particular hormone, then that's where we would get someone who is super tall, or that we would get someone who is a tiny person, which is called dwarfism. Okay, so the pituitary is responsible for some important things. Okay, give thanks for the likes. Give thanks for the likes, teacher. Cool. Bless up yourself. Bless up yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and go forward, and we're going to go into the next portion of the endocrine system, which is the pineal gland. Okay, so we just did come from the pituitary gland, and we are going through the different parts of the endocrine system so that we can put together the missing pieces in our body that tell the stories of why we may be experiencing hair loss, thinning, scalp diseases, or scalp disorders. Okay, as you can see, the body is a very intricate system. Okay, and it takes a lot to keep it regulated, especially in such an unhealthy world where we're bombarded with a whole heap of radiation, a whole heap of foods that are void of nutrients, and a very stressful lifestyles to maintain. Okay, so it's very important that we equip our body to the best of its ability to be the healthiest inside of this unhealthy system that we currently reside in. Okay, so now we're going to go forward into the pineal gland. Named for its pine cone shape, the pineal gland may function in hormonal regulation, menstruation, and sex development. It secretes a large number of active chemicals, the most important of which is melatonin, a substance that is present in higher concentrations during the night. Melatonin plays a role in controlling the sleep cycle. It also inhibits the secretion of gonadotropins. Let me see that again. Gonadotropins. Sometimes these words are very hard to pronounce. This is why tumors of the pineal gland may slow down the development of sexual maturity, or in some cases accelerate it. Okay, so we see the pineal gland here. is pine shaped, okay? And this regulates women's menstruation and your sexual development. So as you go through your stages in life, from baby to puberty, adolescence, and then you go up. The pineal gland is responsible for all of these different stages in life. Okay, it secretes a large number of active chemicals. The most important, which is melatonin. Okay, so melatonin is very important in playing a role in how we sleep, our sleep cycles. Okay, so the pineal gland is responsible for how we sleep and also how we develop and mature sexually. Okay, and so then I just want to reiterate here that the paragraph is also saying that if there are any tumors found on the pineal gland, then this is where we will find this on the pineal gland. This may slow down the development of sexual maturity, or it may increase it greatly. Okay, so what we see going on in this current time is we see a lot of youth who are prematurely developing, okay? And this is in part because a lot of the foods are causing disruptions over the pineal gland, okay? And disrupting the hormones, okay? So we have a lot of adolescents who are developing before their time because of these different reasons, okay? Having to do with the pineal gland, okay? And there's all kinds of hormonal disruptors that we have about us. It's environmental, okay? Then we have with the food. We also have hormonal disruptors with our water. We have hormonal disruptors with a lot of the materials and clothes that we wear on our body. Okay, and we also have the hormonal disruptors with the processed foods. Okay, so it's important to take all of these things into account. Okay, because the endocrine system plays a very important part in how the hair is going to respond on your head. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move further, and we're going to go into the thyroid and parathyroid. The thyroid controls the body's metabolism and has the ability to concentrate iodine consumed with the diet. It also produces the hormone calcitonin, which helps to lower the level of calcium in the blood. The parathyroid glands are small glands, usually 4 in number, embedded within the back of the thyroid. They produce the hormones parathormone, which regulates calcium and phosphorus metabolism. Calcium plays an important role in many metabolic processes. Too much calcium, hypercalcemia, or too little, tetany, can disrupt the normal function of the muscles and nerves. The body cells are extremely sensitive to changing amounts of blood calcium. Okay? So just now we recognize and see here that the thyroid and the parathyroid glands, these are very important as far as calcium production, as far as regulating whether too much calcium stores in the blood. Okay, so that is the thyroid and parathyroid. That is another branch of the endocrine system. As you can see, the endocrine system has different parts. Okay, let's go ahead and go into the next section, which is the thymus. The thymus gland is central to the body's defense mechanisms. It is composed largely of developing lymphocytes, a special type of infection-fighting cells. Although its function is not fully understood, it is known that the thymus plays an important role in developing immunities against various diseases. This is especially true during the early years of life. After puberty, the thymus begins to shrink in size. Researchers have speculated that the progressive shrinking of the thymus gland as age increases is one of the reasons older people are somewhat prone to infections. Okay, so the thymus gland is central to the body's defense mechanisms. Okay. Now, this is stating that researchers do not fully understand the role that it plays, but they know that the thymus is responsible for helping to fight off and defend off diseases from the body and infections, okay? And so this is stating that researchers believe that the thymus begins to shrink as we increase in age, and this is what seems to make elder people more susceptible to diseases and infections, okay? The shrinking of the thymus gland, okay? Let's go ahead and move further. We're going to go into the next part of the endocrine system, which is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is actually a tiny cluster of nerve cells located at the base of the brain. It serves as a link between the autonomic nervous system and the endocrine system. It is responsible for many body functions because it integrates and ensures appropriate response to stimuli. In addition, it regulates hunger, thirst, sleep, and wakefulness, and also plays an important role in the regulation of most of the involuntary mechanisms of the body, including body temperature, sexual drive, and the female menstrual cycle. Finally, it regulates the work of the pituitary gland. Okay, so we could see here that the hypothalamus does a lot of the same things as the the thalamus gland. Okay. And it regulates hunger, thirst, sleep, and wakefulness. Okay. As well as involuntary mechanisms of the body, including temperature, sexual drive, and female menstruation. Okay. So, the hypothalamus is in direct connection to the nervous system, as you can see here. The hypothalamus regulates the responses to stimuli, okay? So that's in direct connection to the nervous system, okay? Let's go ahead and go into the next portion of the endocrine system, which is the pancreas. The pancreas contains cells that secrete enzymes involved in digestion of food and other cells that produce the hormones insulin and glucagon. Insulin lowers the amount of sugar in the blood by facilitating its movement into the cells of the body. It is also important in the manufacture and storage of fats and proteins in growth. Glucagon increases the amount of sugar present in the body by causing the breakdown of fats and proteins. It tends to be secreted at times of stress. Okay. So the pancreas is a very, very important gland, okay? A lot of people have issues with the pancreas, okay? The pancreas contains cells that secrete enzymes involved in the digestion of food and other cells that produce the hormones insulin and glucagon, okay? It is also important in the manufacture and storage of fats and proteins in growth. Okay. Glucagon increases the amount of sugar present in the blood by causing the breakdown of fats and proteins. Okay, so the pancreas is very important in terms of the digestive system. Okay, let's go into the next section of the endocrine system. As you can see, we're going through the entire endocrine system. As you can see, there are many different glandular systems that make up the endocrine system, which is responsible for the transportation of your hormones, which transport through your blood. So as you can see, is the hormone endocrine system is very extensive, and hormonal receptors on each hair follicle. Okay, so this is why it's important for us to understand how the endocrine system works, and if anything is off balance, how that's playing a role in your hair loss or your scalp disorder. Okay, and thank you, ones and ones coming in. This is April E. Diggs. This is Songs Lair, Health, Trichology, Beauty. Okay, I am a certified trichologist specializing in the areas of hair loss, thinning, scalp disorders, scalp diseases. Okay, I'm also a certified naturopath consultant. That means that I help people with their health by way of proper nutrition and plant-based herbal supplementation. Okay, I'm also a master cosmetologist for the last 20 plus years, specializing in the areas of natural hair care and namely locks. Okay, I'm also a product developer. Here is the Return to Anagen product line. Okay, and so we will get into that as we go further along, but I just want to introduce myself. Last time in Crown Conversations, we did discuss the nervous system, okay, and how that's responsible for so many things to function and regulate properly in the body. Okay, and now today we're discussing the hormonal system, the glandular system, the endocrine system, okay, which is another very intricate system of the body. Okay, it's very important for us to educate ourselves on our bodies so that we can make wiser decisions in terms of our health. Okay, and we can also put the puzzle pieces together as to why our hair is telling us the story that it's telling us. Why are we having these inflammatory conditions? Why are we experiencing miniaturization and thinning and balding? So it's very important for us to correlate the body systems and the imbalances, okay? Because the hair is going to tell us what's going on internally, okay? So let's go ahead and go into the next body system, which is the next glandular system of the endocrine system, rather, which is the adrenal, okay? The adrenal glands are essential for functions such as the body's chemical regulation of sodium and potassium, blood concentration, pulse rate, smooth muscle relaxation or contraction, and dilation of pupils of the eyes. Although it appears to be one organ, it is actually two small glands. The outer cortex of each is essential for the body's chemical regulation. The adrenal cortex secretes two hormones, cortisol and aldosterone, which are known collectively as corticosteroids. They help the body reduce stress and are essential for life. Cortisol is an energy generator that regulates the conversion of carbohydrates onto glucose and directs reserves to the liver. It also suppresses inflammation. Aldosterone regulates the mineral and water balance of the body. It prevents excessive loss of water through the kidneys and maintains the balance between sodium and potassium in the bloodstream. This balance is important to the contraction of muscles. The inner part or medulla secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine, two hormones that help the body reduce stress and are important in the fight or flight response. Okay, so that is the adrenal glands. Okay, and a lot of times we hear a lot of people saying things such as the adrenal glands are depleted. Okay, or there's imbalance with the adrenal glands. Okay, because the adrenal glands are responsible for the stress on the body. Okay, the receptors. This is the part of the endocrine system that is receptors to the stress. Okay. Whew. It's getting kind of hot in here. Okay, let's move forward. We just have two more glandular systems in the endocrine system. Okay, and I know that that's kind of long, but we did need to discuss. We don't want to leave any stone unturned, and so we do need to discuss all of the different systems of the endocrine system, okay, and how they play a role. All right, so let's go into the next portion, which is the ovaries. The ovaries are located on each side of the abdomen. They have a dual function, producing and releasing ova or eggs, and secreting female sex hormones such as estrogen and progesterone. These hormones are responsible for the development of secondary sexual characteristics in girls after puberty, and with others are also responsible for the regular bodily changes that accompany the menstrual cycle. Both of these functions cease at menopause. Okay. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the ovaries. Okay, the ovaries are responsible for life coming forward. Okay, so they play a crucial role. Okay, so once menopause does hit, a lot of the hormones that are created in the ovaries are no longer. So the body loses a lot of that, and so that's why the woman's body goes through so many different changes as it adjusts to that shift of being able to create life until the body no longer is creating life. Okay, so that causes a lot of hormonal disruptions, and you probably hear a lot of women speak about it. Okay, because there's not any woman that this does not affect. Okay. All right. Lastly, we're going to go into the last portion of the endocrine system. Okay, and this is for the males. Okay, so we just did discuss the ovaries, and now we're going to discuss the testes. Okay, so the testes located in the scrotum. The testes produce sperm and secrete testosterone, which is responsible for the development of secondary sexual characteristics in boys after puberty and for maintaining maleness throughout a man's adult life. Okay. So we just did discuss every moving part of the hormonal system of the endocrine system. Okay, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, okay, the thyroid, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the ovaries, the testes, and the pineal gland. Okay, This entire system, just like we did discuss in the last live on Crown Conversations, we did discuss how the nervous system has the central nervous system and then the peripheral nervous system, which the central being the brain and the peripheral being the branches that go out into all of the tissues and organs of the body. Okay, so now we just did discuss the hormonal system, okay, and all of the different glandular systems that create the endocrine system, which releases the hormones. Okay, and so with this all being a system, all of these different glands, they all work together. So if anything is off balance, thyroid's off balance, let's see, pancreas, ovaries, any imbalance, it will throw all of the entire endocrine system off of balance. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get into hormones that affect hair. Okay. First, we're going to go ahead and start with the thyroid gland, okay? And a lot of people have issues with the thyroid gland. A lot of times it has to do with an iodine imbalance, okay? But it's good to go ahead and get a medical checkup and check your levels because it could be another factor as well. Okay. So some of the things that will show up in your hair when you're having a thyroid issue, such as we will start with, there's hypothyroidism and then there's hyperthyroidism. Okay. So hypo being too much of your thyroid gland is secreting. Okay. And so when we have too much, then, which is hypothyroidism, we would experience very fine hair and increased shedding. Okay, those are usually symptoms that represent an imbalance in the thyroid gland. Okay. Okay, hyperthyroidism. This is when there's too little. Okay, and so this again we would experience dry hair. Okay, when there's too little of the thyroid gland. Okay, brittle hair. Okay, so that means very weak and dry hair, can easily snap. Okay, and doesn't hold any girth or luster. Okay, diffuse thinning. Okay, diffuse thinning is one form of alopecia, and diffuse thinning tends to look like gradual thinning throughout the entire scalp. Okay, so a lot of times you will see a male pattern or female pattern, which will start here in this crown area, or you can see different patches from telogen effluvium that may be patches in the hair in other areas. Okay, but diffuse tends to be thinning throughout the entire scalp. Okay, so this is where you will see more parts and bigger gaps in between the hair follicles. Okay, that's diffuse. Diffuse usually tends to do with hormonal imbalances, such as we're seeing here. Okay. Also, diffuse thinning can come from issues such as high blood pressure. So that can be a strain on your arteries and veins being constricted, and not having good circulation in the body, and the circulation being stifled to get up to those capillaries in the scalp. Okay, And so that's another reason we can see diffuse thinning, which is thinning throughout the entire scalp, where we're seeing more gapping and more scalp in between the hair. That is called diffuse, okay? And that has to do with the thyroid gland, which is part of your hormonal endocrine system. Okay? Bless up everyone who's coming in. It's good to see you. This is Songs There, Health, Trichology, Beauty, where we discuss those three things here. Health being the foundation of growing, thriving hair. Okay, trichology, the study of the scalp, the study of the hair, focusing on the areas of alopecias, hair loss, thinning, scalp disorders, diseases, psoriasis, dermatitis, okay, and dealing with those things holistically, okay. And also beauty, of course. I'm a licensed cosmetologist for the last 20 plus years. So I specialize in the areas of natural hair care, namely locks. I'm also a product developer. This here is the Return to Anagen product line. This line is designed and formulated specially for persons who are experiencing hair loss, thinning, scalp disorders, okay? It's very important once you're experiencing miniaturization, compromised fibers, once you're experiencing any forms of dermatitis, psoriasis, your hair is very sensitive, your scalp is very sensitive, so you're not able to just use anything. Okay, you need specialized formulas that are going to assist in the areas that are needed. Okay, so a lot of times we can have different issues going on with our scalp and hair, and we're using the wrong products that can cause more issues along the line. Okay, so it's very important that we educate ourselves on how to properly take care of our unique bodies and our unique hair, because our hair and bodies are not a one size fits all. Okay. All right, so here we go. We talked about hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, okay, and some of those symptoms that you will see, okay. And then we just discussed diffuse thinning, which has to do with the thyroid gland, okay, and this would be hypothyroidism, which is secreting too much of the hormone in the thyroid gland, okay? Now let's go ahead and talk about the stress hormone. And this is a culprit for a lot of people, okay? Managing this hormone is very, very tricky. Okay, because like I just did say earlier, we are bombarded with so many different hormonal disruptors coming from the environment, coming from the food, coming from the clothes that we wear, coming from our tainted waters. Okay, there are so many different hormone disruptors. Okay. So this one is high up there, and a lot of people are very familiar with this. This is the infamous cortisol, okay? Cortisol, the stress hormone, okay? Chronic stress, elevated cortisol pushes follicles into the resting phase, telogen effluvium. Okay, so if you were here in the last live where we did discuss the nervous system. Now you can see as we discuss these body systems, we can see how they overlap and how they work together, okay? And a lot of times they are doing the same job, okay? But it is a different body system, okay? So cortisol, we did speak about this lightly on the last live, impacting the nervous system and how this can push the hair into the resting phase, okay, prematurely or too long, okay. Let's go ahead and pull up the hair chart again, okay. Okay, so you can really understand. This is the hair growth cycle here. Hair growth cycle. As you can see here, we have anagen, which is growing. We have that nice, healthy, thick fiber of hair. Then we have the catagen phase. Okay, down here, this little thing here is the dermapapilla. This is where all the activity takes place. This is where all the nutrients come in from the capillaries to feed and create that hair strand, which is keratinized fiber. Okay. Here we have the catagen phase. We're resting now, okay? We're beginning to disconnect, but we're still connected to the power source, but it's just resting. It's no longer in the growth phase. It's just resting here, okay? Now here we are into the telogen phase. Now we can see the hair has actually disconnected from the power bank, which is the dermapapilla, okay? So when we think of the cortisol impacting, when we think of the cortisol, this says it pushes the follicle into the resting phase, okay? So the follicle, the cortisol impacts the hair follicle because remember, there's hormonal receptors on each follicle. There's hormonal receptors, okay? So the cortisol impacting the body is going to take your hair out of this phase, which is anagen, the catagen phase, and prematurely take it right over here where it's actually disconnected from the power bank, okay? So this is how cortisol impacts the hair growth cycle, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and get into this one as well. Insulin. High insulin may contribute to PCOS, elevated androgens, hair thinning, scalp inflammation. Okay? So PCS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay? This causes a number of issues in the woman's body, okay, that throw a lot of the hormonal systems out of alignment, okay. Elevated androgens, so this means that the system may have an imbalance of too much hormones, too much testosterone, okay, which can lead to hair thinning, okay, and inflammation of the scalp, okay. So inflammation of the scalp can be the different disorders such as dermatitis or psoriasis, or you can just have scalp inflammation without it being one of these conditions, but it can just be a byproduct of some reaction the body is having to what's being put inside of the body, okay? Okay, estrogen. Healthy estrogen helps longer growth phase, fuller hair. Low estrogen, menopause, postpartum, shedding, and perimenopause. Okay. So we see as we go into the different phases as we get older, as women, menopause, okay, then we're going to have lowered estrogen levels. A lot of times, postpartum, this is very important because when the woman is pregnant, she tends to have a lot of estrogen, a lot of nutrients pumping through the body to sustain the new life, okay? But as soon as the baby drops and comes down, then the body shifts, okay? And it has to readjust. Okay, so a lot of times you will see in women postpartum shedding because of those estrogen level shifts, okay? And then also in perimenopause being the prelude to menopause, okay? So this is the body shifting and making those changes and gradually losing estrogen as it transitions into the menopause phase, okay? Progesterone, progesterone, okay? This supports hormonal balance. When progesterone declines, androgens become more dominant. Increased shedding may occur, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and get into testosterone and DHT. Okay, testosterone converts into DHT. Okay, for ones who are not familiar with what DHT is dihydrotestosterone. This is a form of testosterone that mixes with an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase, making the testosterone much more potent. Okay, and so this stores in your glandular systems. And remember, you have nerve receptors on all of your follicles. You also have oil glands, okay, which is part of the glandular system. So every time your natural oil secretes, if you do have an issue with DHT, that DHT will be secreting as well. And this can over time suffocate your follicles and lead to thinning, okay? So DHT can shrink susceptible hair follicles over time, contributing to pattern hair loss in people with a genetic predisposition, okay? So let's go ahead and read this article here, because I like to find different articles that are very informative, okay? As a trichologist, I'm always finding new tools, new materials, new studies, okay? So that I can stay abreast of how to be the most effective in my practice and to be able to help clients who are experiencing some of these issues, okay? So this is an article dated back from actually 1998, okay? But a lot of times we see that when we pull up old articles, they actually tell us of what's the modern day things going on. So a lot of times writers are ahead of their time, okay? So let's just read this and see what this article says here, okay? This is from the U.S. Weekend. So let's see. Are common chemicals scrambling your hormones? Ingredients in shampoos, dyes, and detergents may be mixing up your hormonal signals. No one knows for sure, but the EPA is stepping up research. Okay, so let's see this again. Ingredients in shampoos, dyes, and detergents may be mixing up your hormonal signals. How many people think about this when you go and you purchase your favorite shampoo, or you go and you get your favorite product, okay? And you have those nice fragrances, cherry vanilla or lilac rose, or whatsoever those different nice fragrances are. No one's thinking that maybe possibly this may be, a hormonal disruptor, okay? Okay, welcome in everyone. This is Songs There, Health, Trichology, Beauty, where we discuss those three main components. Health, okay? I'm a certified naturopath consultant, okay? So I help people improve their health, the quality of their life by way of proper nutrition and herbal supplementation. I'm also a certified trichologist, so I specialize in the areas of the scalp and the hair, scalp diseases, scalp disorders, okay, and hair loss and thinning. And also I am a licensed master cosmetologist for the 20 plus years, specializing in the areas of natural hair care, namely locks. Also, I'm a product developer. This is the Return to Anagen product line here. These formulas are formulated for persons who are experiencing hair loss, thinning, scalp disorders, scalp diseases, also for natural hair care, and for persons who have locks, okay? It's very important that we understand that once we are experiencing any form of hair loss, thinning, any form of dermatitis, psoriasis, we are not able to just use anything anymore, okay? If we want to take care of the issue, if we want to keep our hair on our head longer, then it would behoove us to find products that actually support that, okay? So a lot of times when your hair is fragile, and compromised, a lot of times when your scalp is experiencing these inflammatory issues, you need specialized products, okay? You can't just use anything anymore, okay? So that's what I do make my clients know, okay? The first thing that we do besides detoxing is we look at the products that the client's using to ensure that it is in alignment with their treatment plan, so that they can see some results, okay? All right, so let's go back into this. Feel free if you have any questions whatsoever as it pertains to your hair, okay? If you don't want to leave your question here, you can feel free to DM me, okay? You can also go to the link in my bio if you are in need of a consultation, okay? And also feel free to share this live with anyone who you feel can benefit from this information. This presentation, Crown Conversations, will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. So if anyone does miss this live, you can go to YouTube and you can go to Songs Lair Health, Trichology, Beauty, okay, as well. And all of these lives will be uploaded there. So if you do miss them, you are able to go ahead and rewatch them, okay? Bless up, everyone. It's good to see you. This is Songs Lair Health, Trichology, Beauty. In our last live, we did discuss the nervous system in Crown Conversations, and today we are discussing the endocrine system, the glandular system, the hormonal systems, okay? So I'm so happy to have you here in Crown Conversations with Songs Lair, and I am April E. Diggs. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward. We are now discussing our common chemicals scrambling your hormones, okay? And so this just stated, ingredients in shampoos, dyes, and detergents may be mixing up your hormonal signals. Okay, a lot of people don't take time to think about all of these different products on the shelves. Are they disrupting my hormones? Okay, no one knows for sure. But the EPA is stepping up its research, and the EPA is the Environmental Protective Agency. Okay, so the Environmental Protective Agency, the EPA, they're responsible for regulating all of the products that are put out for the masses to consume. Okay, I'm not going to speak too much on that because I don't want to get in trouble, but I have my thoughts on the EPA. Anyways, let's keep moving forward. Dozens of synthetic chemicals found in our food, environment, and everyday products have proven harmful to wildlife and lab animals. Now there's a new focus on whether they're putting people at risk too, by playing havoc with hormones that control reproduction and development. Hormone disruption has emerged as one of our top research priorities over the past couple of years, says Lawrence Ritter of the U.S. Environmental Protective Agency. After reviewing nearly 300 studies, the EPA concluded in 1997 that hormone disrupting chemicals can lead to disturbing health effects in animals, including cancer, sterility, and developmental problems. Okay, so let's just take a minute with this. So we see here, hormone disruption has emerged for researchers as a top priority in the last years. Now remember, this article was from 1998. Okay? So here we are, fast forward, we are in 2026, soon to be 2027. I would say, for me personally, I have witnessed a lot of shifts hormonally in the people, in the youth, okay? A lot of confusion and scrambling of identities, okay? We're witnessing this as we speak, okay? So a lot of the imaging portrayed and the scrambling of hormones, we could see how the youth would be bombarded with confusion as to their identities, okay? Like I did say, this article is back in 1998 that the EPA started to really research what may be going on, okay? So now here we are in 2026, which is almost 30 years later, okay? So this is very, very serious, okay? So we've seen that these hormone disrupting chemicals can lead to disrupting health effects in animals, including cancer, sterility, and developmental problems, okay? Now here, this is profound, and let me know if you agree with me, okay? Are we currently experiencing lower sperm counts in men? Are we currently experiencing lower testosterone levels in men and higher testosterone levels in women? Are we currently experiencing that? Are we currently experiencing early puberty? It's namely in young girls. Okay? I have some clients now who have young girls, young children, girl picnic, and they are having to take puberty blockers. Age 7, age 9, age 10. Tell me why a 9-year-old or a 7-year-old has to take puberty blockers. Okay? We can see this study is from 1998. The EPA was already alarmed that they needed to amp up the research because they saw the difference in the people. Now here we are, lower sperm counts in men, higher testosterone in women, lower testosterone in men, earlier puberty in girls. Like I just did say, I have some clients who are experiencing having 7, 9-year-old, 10-year-olds on puberty blockers. Okay? So this lets us know that there is something deeply, deeply wrong that is scrambling our hormones. Okay? Excuse me. That's why we just did read. That's why we just did read the whole section on the endocrine system, so we can see all of the glandular systems, how they work, what they're responsible for, okay? Let's keep moving forward. The agency said the jury is still out on whether these chemicals, many originating in pesticides, plastics, and industrial pollutants, are causing similar problems in humans, but it called for stepped up research because of potential risks, especially for children. Okay? So, many originating in pesticides, plastics, and industrial pollutants. Okay. The risk for both sexes. The stakes are high because hormones play such a crucial role in body functions. produced by the endocrine glands. Hormones act as chemical messengers that tell cells in organs and tissues what to do. Hormones like estrogen and testosterone, for example, help determine how sex organs develop and function. Scientists want to know if man-made chemicals that can interfere with the hormonal system are responsible for plummeting sperm counts in men in many parts of the world, and for other problems such as the dramatic increase in a defect of the penis in U.S. newborns. Scientists want to know if man-made chemicals that can interfere with the hormonal system are responsible for plummeting sperm counts in men in many parts of the world, and for other problems such as the dramatic decrease in a defect of the penis in U.S. newborns. Also of concern, whether girls are reaching puberty unnaturally early. A recent study of 17,000 U.S. girls showed that 48% of black girls and 15% of white girls showed signs of puberty by age 8. Doctors offer several explanations, some benign. One is that normal development ages may be based on flawed data, or that better nutrition in recent decades has had an impact. But some researchers worry that ingredients in some shampoos, dyes, and detergents are absorbed through the skin and then scramble hormonal signals. So what's alarming to me here is a study of 17,000 U.S. girls showed that 48% of black girls and 15% of white girls showed signs of puberty by age 8. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go into a little bit of history. I'm not going to stay too long in it. Okay. But, this all goes back to us not being in our natural habitat as African descendants. Okay. And so a lot of times these ailments and diseases, they impact us far greater than other races of people. Okay. First, namely, because we are definitely out of our element being here, okay? Our ancestors, our lineages, our makeup, our melanin, everything about us, we're out of our element, okay? But we have adapted and adjusted through the centuries, okay? But this is why it's so important for us in our community to really focus on our health and hone in on learning our unique bodies, okay? Because as you can see from this study, 48% of black girls and 15%, that's a huge divide, okay, are impacted. 48% of black girls, 15% of the white girls. So that lets us know that we absolutely cannot consume the same foods and live the same lifestyle as our European counterparts, okay? And not for naught, it's just being aware and being alert of this, okay? Because as you can see, in our community, we are greatly impacted when we are not conscious of what we need as a unique person and as a unique people. Okay. So this is saying some shampoos, dyes, and detergents are absorbed through the skin, then scramble the hormones. Okay. So a lot of times people don't make this connection, okay? Your skin is your largest organ. Whatever you put on your skin, it will absolutely absorb into the bloodstream. Absolutely. There's nothing you can put on your body that is not going to be absorbed into your bloodstream. So with that said, wouldn't we want to take such a good care of our largest organ, which is our skin? Wouldn't we want to be well versed about what we're putting on our skin, since it is our largest organ? Wouldn't we want to be well versed, because we understand that everything that we put on our skin is going to go directly into our bloodstream? Whatever goes into our bloodstream is going to impact our hormones, because our hormones are chemical receptors that travel by way of the bloodstream. Okay, are you making the connections? Okay. Let's keep moving forward. Industry can't ignore. A number of people believe there's already ample evidence to indict several chemicals. At what point do you say there are enough red flags? Asked University of Missouri biology professor Frederick von Saal, one of the several experts working with the National Academy of Sciences on the issue. Von Saal says his research shows a chemical in the lining of cans leaches into food in amounts capable of disrupting hormones in humans. Okay, let me say that again because that was a little rough. Okay, Von Saal says his research shows a chemical in the lining of cans leaches into food in amounts capable of disrupting hormones in humans. Okay? The chemical industry sees things differently. Hormone disruption is a plausible hypothesis. You can't walk away and ignore it, says John Holtzman of the Chemical Manufacturers Association. But so far, he says, the replicated peer reviews research has not turned up. Okay. So I thought it very important to read this article. Like I did say, this article was written back in 1998, where the EPA was already starting to see issues as far as hormonal imbalance, endocrine disruptors coming from the food. Okay, but there is actually a war going on. Okay, and the war is the people who know the truth and want to give food that, you know, is not processed and loaded down with chemicals and that actually nourishes and feeds the people. And then we have the greedy investors who want to make the money and will find any way possible to cut corners and slide things through and make things work even when they don't work and are not good for the trajectory of humanity. Okay? But it's good for lining their pockets. Okay? So that is what we're up against. Okay, let's keep moving forward here. Let's go ahead and talk about hormonal health. And before we do that, let's do this, because I did want to show you this. I just did come across this today. And so besides some of the products that line the shelf that are filled with chemicals and hormonal disruptors, okay, your shampoos, your soaps, your lotions, okay, your laundry detergents, your dishwashing liquids, your house cleaning supplies, all of these different things have the ability to have endocrine disruptors, okay? So let's see here. So we just did discuss all of these different products and things that can cause these issues. Let's talk about ways that we can play it safe. Okay? People concerned about exposure to suspected hormone disruptors can take a number of steps, say advocacy groups among their suggestions. Change your diet. Limit your intake of meat and dairy products or switch to leaner or lower fat versions. This reduces your exposure to industrial pollutants such as dioxin that concentrate in the fat of animals. Okay, so this is one area of advice in cutting down on hormonal disruptions or endocrine disruptors. So this is saying change your diet. And if you do remember from the live that we did have last time in Crown Conversations, we did discuss the nervous system, and I did pull up a chart from the book Queen Afua, Sacred Woman, and it did show us specifically some of the foods that inhibit or alter or cause havoc to the nervous system. And the body is just a holistic unit. So as you can see here, as far as hormonal disruptors, these are some of the same foods that were stated as far as nervous system disruptors as well. Okay, so limit your intake of meat and dairy products or switch to leaner or lower fat versions. This reduces your exposure to industrial pollutants such as dioxin that concentrate in the fat of animals. Okay, let's look up real quick what dioxin is, because actually this is my first time ever hearing that particular chemical there. And so what this is saying is the dioxin stores in the fat of the animals. And so that's why it suggests to stop the meat intake or cut down on the meat intake because it stores in the fats of animals. Okay, and so when you get your slab of meat or you get your meat pieces, okay, a lot of times there's fat on the meat. Okay, and that is where this chemical is housed. Okay, so dioxins are a group of toxic persistent compounds that act as environmental pollutants, primarily formed as unwanted byproducts of primarily formed as unwanted byproducts of industrial processes, incomplete combustion, and natural events. They have no common commercial uses and accumulate in the fatty tissues of animals. Okay? See, this is why it's so important. Reading is fundamental. Okay? Because a lot of people don't know this. Excuse me. Dioxin stores. I wonder why the screen is so low. Oh, let me turn on the brightness because there we go. I said, why is it so dark? There is it. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this. This dioxin is a group of persistent chemical compounds that act as environmental pollutants. Okay, these environmental pollutants are created by way of unwanted byproducts of industrial processes. That means the way that the meat is processed gives off these dioxins, okay, which are chemical compounds that act as pollutants. When the meat is being processed, it's trapping the dioxin in its fatty tissues. The dioxin is the waste and toxic byproduct of the processing of the meat. Let's just take a minute, okay? Let's just take a minute, because a lot more time, I doesn't think people really People, excuse me, people consume different foods, but I doesn't think people take time to see how is that food processed? How did it get there in that package? What was the process? Okay? And can that process that it was made, can that be detrimental to your health? Okay? Okay. Let's see here if we want to see anything else here. Over 90% of humans' exposure occurs through eating meat, dairy, fish, and shellfish, where the chemicals have built up in the food chain. Okay, over 90% of this exposure is by way of eating meat, dairy, fish, and shellfish. Industrial activities like chemical manufacturing, chlorine bleaching of paper pulp, and waste incineration release dioxins. Again, let's read that. This is all the processing of meat. This is why meat is so dangerous for your system, okay? It's not only hard for the body to digest and process, but the processing of meat holds a lot of toxins, okay, just to get that meat processed, okay? So industrial activities like chemical manufacturing, chlorine bleaching of paper pulp, and waste incineration release dioxins. So all of this is going on in the plant while the meat is being produced, and those dioxins being released are being trapped inside of the meat, and that's going in your belly. Okay? And then you're wondering why you're not feeling good, why you're feeling out of sorts, why things are not connecting in your body, you're not functioning properly. You have to really look at the foods that you're consuming, okay? Combustion sources include backyard trash, burning, forest fires, and fuel burning. Okay, so these are some other ways that we can have dioxins come into our system by backyard trash burning, forest fires, and fuel burning. Okay, so a lot of times even people who don't consume meat, we still are exposed to these things. Okay. Health effects. High toxicity can cause cancer, reproductive and developmental problems, and hormonal disruption. Okay? Damage to the immune system and severe skin conditions like chloracne can result from exposure. Okay? Dioxins have a very long half-life in the human body, estimated to be around 10 years. Ratted, me son. So that means that you can consume meat that has dioxins in it, and that's going to be a part of your body for 10 years. That's how long dioxins can live in the human body. So let's look at that. If we have a lifestyle that's primarily meat consumption, and meat traps dioxins, and we've been eating meat all these years, that's a lot of hormonal disruptions going on internally. Okay? Okay, let's keep moving forward here. Okay. Okay, so we did just discuss, let's go ahead and keep moving forward with this. Okay, so this is saying we just discussed changing your diet, so the meat and the dairy. We discussed how the dioxins store in the fat of the animal, and that causes a lot of hormonal disruptors. Okay, dioxins are a byproduct of how the meat was processed. Okay, so whatever goes on during that process of the meat, processing the meat, those toxins that are released get trapped in the animal fat. Okay, and that goes into your body once it's consumed, and that is hormonal disruptor. Okay, today we're talking about hormones, the endocrine system. Okay. Okay, so here is a next area of advice to help with hormonal disruption by way of products and foods. Okay, buy organic food to avoid pesticide residues. Okay, so this gets really tricky, especially in this day and time, because I was watching one documentary where there was a farmer's market, and what the people were doing, because I believe there's stickers that are placed on the different fruits to specify if it is organic or if it in fact is not organic. And I believe the number 9 is the leading number on the organic produce. However, in this documentary, we saw where it was a local farmers market that was housed every week in the community, and what happened is they were exposed because they actually were using produce that was not organic and placing these stickers on them with the number 9 preceding all the other numbers. So they were selling fruits and vegetables that were in fact not organic, but they were passing them off as organic. So I feel like the only way to really ensure that your fruits and vegetables are organic is if you are growing them yourself. Okay, because we just live in such a capitalistic society, and now that we see plant-based, vegan, and becoming healthier holistically in general is in a lot more demand now. So the capitalists have found a way to capitalize on this. So everything that comes across as being healthy may not be. Okay, so when we think in terms of organic, the only way to really solidify that is if you are actually growing those fruits and vegetables yourself. Okay, so what I would say, if that is not a possibility, which is not for a lot of people, then we would find ways to clean our fruits and vegetables in the best way. I like to use food grade hydrogen peroxide. Okay, and you can research that yourself to find out how you can utilize that to clean your fruits and vegetables. Some people like to use apple cider vinegar and baking soda. Okay, so there's a number of different ways that you can clean your produce for yourself. Okay, but again, like I did say, unless you're growing these items yourself, it's very hard to say if something is truly organic. Okay. All right, let's see. Avoid vinyl. Don't give children pacifiers or teething rings made from vinyl. How many people know this? How many babies do we see rolling around with pacifiers in their mouth? Huh? How many babies do we see where the teeth start coming in and they're in great discomfort, and then they have the little teething rings? Okay? So this is saying make sure that you avoid vinyl. Okay? So once you're educated, then you know. Once you know better, you do better. Not true? So you want to try to find these things that are made from a different material, okay? You want to avoid vinyl, okay? Previously, we were just talking about the hormone disruption and how young girls are developing prematurely, okay, by way of hormonal disruptors. So if we give our baby a vinyl pacifier or teething ring and they're just a baby, we're already starting the circuit of hormonal disruption, okay, by just not knowing that these materials can disrupt the hormones, okay? Go natural with bugs. Use herbal or scent-based, not pesticide-based insect repellents. Okay? So this one is tough, okay? Because we have a lot of different repellents, okay? But the repellents are very strong chemicals, okay? And you have to think about it. If they're keeping these mosquitoes and bugs away from you, they have to be, something has to be really, really, really strong about them, okay? So we have to be careful with the different repellents and using them, because they are definitely hormonal disruptors. Now, you know, I'm guilty of using 100% DEET repellent, because anytime I'm in Jamaica, the mosquitoes are vicious, okay? The mosquitoes are not normal, okay? And so I did make my own repellents using different essential oils, okay? Tea tree, lavender, rosemary, eucalyptus, camphor, citronella, all these different things. But it seems as though some mosquitoes don't respond to these natural remedies, okay? And there's nothing more uncomfortable than a whole heap of mosquito bites. It's very uncomfortable, okay? So sometimes we can't get around certain things, you know, but we definitely want to be informed, and we want to keep it limited using these repellents because they have some very potent, strong chemicals in them, okay, that can definitely disrupt your hormones, and with prolonged use, regular use, that can cause some serious endocrine issues, okay? Let's see here. Read shampoo labels. Choose hair care products without octoxynol or nanoxynol among their ingredients. Let's look up these, okay? A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people are just using whatever shampoo smells the best for them. A lot of people are using a shampoo that says it does this, it's moisturizing, it's clarifying, okay? It's thickening, all of these different things, reasons why people use different shampoos. But it's very important that we read the labels, because we may be using a shampoo that makes our hair smell nice, but it's throwing our endocrine system and our hormones out of balance, okay? So let's look up these two chemicals. Choose hair care products without octoxynol or nanoxynol among their ingredients. Okay, we're going to go ahead and look these up. We just did look up dioxins, and we just did find out that dioxins are byproducts of how the meat is processed, and these dioxins get stored in the fat of the animal, and it is packaged, and then you consume it. And these dioxins are highly toxic, and they are hormone disruptors, okay? So we just did look up what dioxins are, because a lot of people, I'm sure, have no clue what dioxins are, and knew that this is a toxin that is stored in this meat that is put out in the stores, okay? Okay, so let's see here. Now we're going to look up what is octozinol. And these are when you're looking for your hair care products, when you're looking for your shampoos, you want to read your labels and you want to make sure that these ingredients are not inside of these products, okay? So first we're going to look up octozinol. Okay, octozinol is a synthetic non-ionic surfactant. Okay, what is a surfactant? A surfactant is something that is placed on the hair and is supposed to grab dirt molecules. Okay, so a surfactant is something that's usually put into soaps, shampoos, cleansers, okay, because it is something that grabs the molecules that are dirt, bacteria, what have you, okay? And it's an emulsifying agent and cleaning compound, most famously known by the trade name Triton X100. It helps mix oil and water. So an emulsifier is something that blends things together. It emulsifies a product, meaning it brings everything together, okay? So just like in this product here, this is the Soothing Scalp Formula, okay? This is usually utilized for persons who are experiencing dermatitis, psoriasis, okay? Because it has non-comedogenic oils in it, meaning non-clogging, okay? And it has soothing oils in it, such as lavender, a lot of lavender, okay? And eucalyptus, okay? So here we're having an idea of what emulsifier is. If you can see here, we see the product and we see the separation. This is aloe here down at the bottom, okay? This is your these are your cold pressed light oils here and your essential oils in there. And then this is your aloe. Aloe is an emulsifier. Why? Because when I mix it up, it blends everything together. You see that? Everything is now blended. So that is what you call an emulsifier. It is able to bring a water base and oil base together. It emulsifies, okay? Okay, so we see what octozinol is, a synthetic non-ionic surfactant, okay? So when it comes to looking for products and shampoos, we want to look for this ingredient. If this ingredient is on your label, this is a product that you do not want to use. This is a hormone disruptor, okay? Octozinol, and a lot of times we'll get different products from the store and we'll turn around the label and we can't read nothing on the back of the label, okay? Because everything comes like it's French, because it's so much different chemicals that we're not aware of. So this is why we educate ourselves, okay? So when we are looking for shampoos, different products, lotions, creams, what have you, we want to look on the label. We want to see does it have octozinol? If it has octozinol, then we know, say, that is a hormone disruptor. We don't want to use that product, okay? Let's see, what's the next one it did say? Nanozinol. Let's see what nanozinol. These are two ingredients that you want to look for when you're getting your shampoos and your body care products. These are two hormonal disruptors, okay? So you want to look on your labels to see if they have these ingredients. If they do, then we would know that this product is more than likely not going to be good for the long haul, okay? And that it will be disruptive to your hormones. Why is that important? Because we just did discuss how the different things that the hormones are responsible for, all of the glandular systems of the body, okay? So once the hormones are scrambled and are off, then this is going to throw off all of the signaling of the body and proper the functioning of the body, moods, what have you. Okay, everything will be disrupted. So it's very important that we get to the root causes of what may be causing these imbalances in the body. Okay, a lot of times it's our products and we're unaware. Okay. So here we go again. This is nanoxynol. This is another product that you want to look for that is a hormonal disruptor in your shampoos or your body care products. Nanoxynol is an active chemical ingredient used as a spermicide to prevent, this is the wrong one. Sorry. 1 second. Let me go back. We don't want that one. Okay, we want this one. Okay, it's used as a surfactant in cosmetics and cleaning goods. It stops pregnancy by damaging the outer membranes of sperm and stopping them from moving. Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of men in our current day and time who have very low sperm counts, very low testosterone. Okay, this is in part because of the products that have been being used for so long. Okay. So we see here, it stops pregnancy by damaging the outer membrane of sperm and stopping them from moving. So do we want something like this for our men to be using? Okay. Nanoxynil. Nanoxynil. It's very important that you check your labels. You check for octoxynol. Octoxynol, which is spelled OCTOXYNOL. Octoxynol. And then we also want to check for nonoxynol, which is spelled NONOXYNOL. Nanoxynol. These two culprits are in a lot of the shampoos and the products that we use on our bodies, such as creams, lotions, what have you. Okay, you want to check your labels. You want to see if these are in your products. Okay, these are hormonal disruptors. Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and keep moving further forward. And right now we discussed different issues with the hormonal endocrine system. Now we're discussing different ways that we can help bypass some of the endocrine disruptors that are in our environment. Okay, some of the things that we can do. Okay. Avoid polystyrene foam. Don't use plastic foam containers for fatty foods, alcohol, or hot foods or beverages. The good thing is I'm seeing less and less of these styrofoam containers. Now I'm starting, especially in Jamaica, they're more so using like the paper, okay, instead of the styrofoam. But, for a long time, styrofoam was the main thing used. Styrofoam cups, styrofoam for your box food. You have your styrofoam container. Okay, I still see a couple of places that still use the styrofoam. But for the most part, the styrofoam, we don't see it as much as we used to. But styrofoam, especially when it says when you place it with alcohol or hot foods or fatty foods, okay? All of that, the chemical from the polystyrene foam leaks into the food, leaks into the beverage, okay? And that is definitely a hormonal disruptor, okay? So for anyone who is still currently using styrofoam, okay, you may want to watch that, okay? And you may want to just really be mindful that it releases hormonal disruptors, okay? And it would be in your best interest to probably dash that and use a different material, okay? So usually I will use the paper cups or paper bowls if I need to, but I do my best to not use any form of styrofoam, okay? And a lot of people are unaware that styrofoam absolutely does cause hormonal disruptions, okay? All right, let's keep moving forward. But these are some of the tools that we can use to help in the prevention of endocrine or hormonal disruptions. Okay, so I'm just gonna briefly go over that again, this list. Okay, people concerned about exposure to suspected hormone disruptors can take a number of steps. Okay, so changing your diet. Remember, we did talk about the meat and the dairy and how the dioxins get stored in the fat of the animal, and those toxins absolutely cause hormonal disruptions once that meat or dairy is consumed. Okay, and we did also read about buying organic food. But like I did say, the only way to really solidify that the food is organic is if you grew it yourself. Because of capitalism right now, it's hard to know what we can trust in terms of organic food, because so many people are trying to make money and so many things can be so much misleading. So it's very important if in terms of organic that we are growing it ourselves. If not, we want to look up different ways to clean our own food. Okay, I like to use the food grade hydrogen peroxide. You can look into that yourself. Some people use baking soda and apple cider vinegar. So there's different ways that you can clean your produce to get that residue off. Okay, so I encourage you to research that if you're not able to grow your own food yourself, okay, which is the only way to really solidify knowing if that produce is organic. Okay, let's see. We also discuss insect repellents. These are potent chemicals. They keep the bugs away, and there's a reason, because they have high levels of toxins and hormonal disruptors in there. Okay, sometimes if you go in very tropical environments such as Costa Rica, sometimes Jamaica, okay, different places where the mosquitoes are not normal, sometimes you have to use the stronger repellents. Sometimes a natural repellent won't work in these environments, but we want to be mindful and we want to keep it limited as far as how we're using the mosquito repellents. Okay, and then we also want to read the labels on our shampoos and also on any of our products that we're using, as far as creams, lotions, any of these things that we use on the body. We want to read the labels. And we did speak about looking for ingredients such as octozinol and nanozinol on the labels of your self-care products and your shampoos. Okay, again, that's octozinol and nanozinol. Okay, these are hormonal disruptors, and they are in a lot of the products that we have lining the shelves. Okay, and then we want to avoid polystyrene foam. We want to avoid any type of styrofoam foam. Okay, it's a good thing that we're seeing less and less usage of the styrofoam foam, but we still do see it sometimes. But people are becoming aware and using it less and less, because once this foam comes into contact with any alcoholic beverage, with any beverage that is, or with hot foods, chemicals from the foam release into the beverage or food, and this goes into your body, and these cause hormonal disruptions. Okay, so that's some very good information. A lot of people did not know these things. Okay? And that's why it's very important for us to educate ourselves, because the doctors are not going to tell you everything you need to know. Okay? It's very important for you to educate yourself on your unique body. And Jah created every fruit-bearing herb. Everything Jah created. He created a medicine and a cure for everything. So it's very important for us to research the natural remedies around us, okay? Let's keep moving forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the next segment here on Crown Conversations. And bless up everyone who's currently coming in. You can feel free to share this live with anyone that you feel may need this information. Here at Songs There, we focus on health, trichology, and beauty, okay? And health being nutrition and herbal supplementation, okay? And then trichology, the study of the hair and the scalp, okay? Specializing in the areas of hair loss, thinnings, scalp diseases and disorders. And then of course beauty, because everyone wants to look wonderful, everybody wants to look good, everybody wants to be beautiful. But we want to focus on our beauty coming from a place of health, okay? So here we're going to go into lifestyle and hormonal health, okay? So lifestyle. How does this support our hormonal health, our endocrine system? Okay, so proper nutrition, protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, omega-3 fats, B vitamins. Okay? Again, protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, omega-3 fats, B vitamins. These are fundamental. These are fundamental. A fundamental basis in keeping the keeping the hormones balanced. Okay? These nutrients, a lot of times people don't understand. They're eating, thinking they're hungry, but they're eating foods that are not nutrient dense. Okay? So you're filling up your belly, filling up your body, but you're still hungry. Why are you still hungry? Because your body's not getting the proper protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, omega-3 fats, B vitamins, and also those minerals, trace minerals, okay? Minerals play a very important part in hormonal balance, okay? Let's go to the Trichology Bible here. Understanding the body. Trillions of living organisms called cells make up the body. Each cell requires a constant supply of oxygen, nutrients, pure water, and the right temperature to survive. Waste must be removed. If cells are not supported in all these ways, they will die. It is impossible for each cell to supply its own needs. In order to perform specialized functions, each type of cell is organized in a beautiful system of interdependence that works for the good of the whole. Some cells are grouped to specialize in supplying food to the whole body, the digestive system. Others are adapted to coordinate the pumping of fresh air into the body and the removal of stale air, the respiratory system. Okay, so we can see here that the body is an interdependent unit, okay? And the way that it can function at its best is if it at least at best has the proper nutrition, protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, omega-3 fats, B vitamins, minerals, okay? Trace minerals. The body needs proper sleep. We did speak about this in the last Crown Conversations live. how the nervous system impacts the body, how insomnia impacts the body and impacts hair loss over time. Okay? So sleep is very important. Sleep is very fundamental. Okay? Exercise and movement. The body is a holistic unit. So a lot of times people suffer from insomnia are not able to go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. Why? A lot of times because the body has not been moving enough during the day to burn off those extra androgens, to burn off that extra stress, to tire the body out to where it's ready to go and rest. If you have a sedentary lifestyle and you're sitting all day and you are not really active and moving, okay, when it's time to go to sleep, the body has a hard time going to rest because it's never been able to work itself out during the day. Okay, so exercise is very important when it comes to sleep patterns. Okay, exercise helps your body to go into your sleep patterns. Okay, so all of these things affect your hormones and affect your nervous system. Not getting enough movement, not getting enough sleep, this is going to really throw off the body systems. Okay, and then stress reduction. Okay, so I want to touch a little bit more on that because in the last live I discussed lightly adaptogenic herbs, but I really didn't show you any. So I'm gonna make sure that I show you some adaptogenic herbs today before we end this live that help the body to combat the adverse effects of stress. Okay, like I did say previously, there is no way to escape stress. Stress is all about, okay? And we live in a stressful times and in a stressful world. But we can equip our bodies better to handle the stress so that stress is not taking adverse effects on us, okay? So the adaptogenic herbs are very good in that area where they communicate with the cells and tell the cells what to do, okay? And so the adaptogenic herbs, once stress hits your body, adaptogens kick in and they protect your body systems and counteract the stress so the stress is not having adverse effects silently on your body that start to show up over time. Okay, proper hydration. Okay, we know that besides nutrition, proper hydration is the basis for health. Okay, our bodies are primarily made of water. Okay, so what makes you think that we don't need to renew our water intake every day to replenish those cells, to get rid of old material, to keep circulation going in the body? Okay? We have to replenish with fresh water every day. Okay? And we need to replenish for our body mass. Okay? They have a saying that you drink 8 cups a day. But I don't agree with that because everyone's body mass is different. So someone who is 140 pounds does not need the same amount of water as someone who is 280 pounds. Okay? So someone who's 280 pounds, they need 140 ounces of water per day. Why? Because you need half of your body weight in ounces to keep your body properly hydrated. Okay? The person who is 140 pounds, they need to consume 70 ounces of water per day to keep their body regulated and properly hydrated. Okay? Okay. Gut health. In another live, we will go into this area of the body, which is another very intricate system of the body. Okay? We have our brain here in our head, but our main brain, our main frame is here housed in the gut. Okay? And this also houses our immune system. So the gut is very responsible for a lot of things, it is the body's center. So it's responsible for a lot of how the body responds, okay? So in another live, we will also discuss just the gut, okay, and the digestive system, okay. Okay, as you can see, every body system is very intricate, okay, and it needs its own space and time for us to learn about all of these different body systems that make up this great body that we have that does so many different mechanisms, okay. And then also we will let's see, liver health. So your liver is responsible for filtering out toxins, okay. So when anything is going on with the liver, then all of the body systems are going to suffer, okay. And so actually in our next live, we are going to be discussing cleansing and detoxification, okay. So that's going to be inclusive of liver health. So that will be on our next live. So make sure that you're following, because anytime I do lives, it's going to be very sporadic, okay? Because I am operating a practice here. I'm seeing clients, okay? And then I have to pick downtime, free time, in order to come on and give these presentations. So make sure that you're following so that you can always see when I'm going live, because they will be at different times. Also, you can go on my YouTube channel if you do miss this live and you want to see it in its fullness, and that is Songs Layer Health Trichology Beauty on YouTube, okay. And so like I just did say, in our next live we will be discussing cleansing and detoxification, okay? Because these are the foundational parts of where the trichologist usually will start in any treatment plan, okay? And this is usually the foundation for wellness, starting with cleansing and detoxifying. So that will be in our next live. And then on a future live, we will talk just solely about the digestive system, okay? All right, let's move forward. Let's talk about system support, endocrine support. So we see how these healthy habits can increase overall wellness, okay? Proper nutrition, protein, iron, zinc, vitamin D, omega-3 fats, B vitamins, trace minerals, sleep, exercise, stress reduction, hydration, gut health, and liver health. Okay. So let's talk about the adaptogenic herbs, okay? Because last time I was here, we were talking about the nervous system, and I did not speak about the adaptogenic herbs that can be used to help the body counteract the effects of stress. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go to my TikTok channel, and we're going to look at one of the videos, because I did make a whole video on adaptogenic herbs. So these are just gonna be a few. And then I will tell you some more, but let's go ahead and look at this video first. Okay, these are some of the adaptogenic herbs. Let's turn this up.
Get deeper sleep and bring balance back to
Hold
your
on,
nervous. Want to feel better? Get deeper sleep and bring balance back to your nervous system? Herbs play a powerful role in healing and restoration. They communicate with the body on a cellular level, acting as adaptogens that help nourish and support us through stress, hormonal shifts, and life cycles. This over time can impact hair growth and influence conditions such as alopecia and nervous condition scalp disorders. Here are 7 supportive herbs to consider. Shatavari supports the female system through every phase: puberty, menstruation, fertility, pregnancy, nursing, premenopause, and menopause.
Shatavari.
Lemon balm gently calms and soothes the nervous system.
Lemon balm.
Anti-anxiety. Ashwagandha, anti-stress, supporting, grounding, and balancing. Holy basil, calming, restorative, nervous system ally. Kava kava promotes relaxation and restful sleep, potent calming and anti-anxiety properties. Valerian root, sleep aid, natural sedative, supports deep relaxation. Saffron, mood support and emotional balance, sleep, mood, PMS, libido support. These herbs can be taken individually or combined. They work synergistically, meaning their power is amplified when used together. You may choose all 7 or combine 3 that best support your current needs. You're welcome, Song Slayer.
Okay, you see it there? You're welcome. So those are some of the adaptogenic herbs. 1 second, let me turn this light back on. Okay, those are some of the adaptogenic herbs. Okay, lemon balm is wonderful, a wonderful nervine. Okay, it keeps you calm. Okay, it helps your body not to react to stress. When stress hits your body, it doesn't tighten it up and tense it. The adaptogens help your body to adapt to the stress so that your body stays calm, okay, and your nervous system stays calm. A lot of people know about ashwagandha, okay? A lot of people know about saffron, holy basil, okay? These are some of the adaptogenic herbs, but I do encourage you to look up for yourself adaptogenic herbs, okay? And then we saw that the kava, a lot of people experiencing issues with insomnia. Valerian root is very good for this. Kava is very good for helping the body to get into a restful state and to be able to sleep. Okay, let's get into a couple more. Okay. Okay, again, I'm just going to discuss with you what adaptogens are. Adaptogens are herbs and natural substances traditionally used to help the body adapt to physical, mental, and environmental stressors. Again, adaptogens are herbs and natural substances traditionally used to help the body adapt to physical, mental, and environmental stressors. Okay, they are studied for their potential effects on stress response, regulation, nervous system balance, energy and fatigue support, mood and emotional resilience, hormonal balance, immune function, and metabolic health. Adaptogens primarily influence the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which connects the brain, endocrine glands, and stress response system. Okay, that's very powerful there, because earlier we just did read every section of the endocrine system, all of the different glandular systems. Okay, and we did learn about the pituitary gland and the adrenal gland. Okay, so these are responsible for how the body responds to stress. So these adaptogenic herbs go in to support these glandular systems, okay? So we're going to just discuss some herbs that can be used by women and men both, okay? Because there are some herbs that are specifically designed for just women and some that are specifically designed for just men. But we are going to just discuss some of the adaptogens that can be used by both, okay? So, adaptogens supporting both men and women. So both men and women can use ashwagandha, rhodiola, maca, reishi, panax ginseng. Okay? So these are some of the adaptogen herbs. Like I did say, there is quite a bit of them. So I would encourage you to do your research and look up adaptogenic herbs for yourself. Okay? You can get them in tincture form, which is the liquid drop forms. You can also get them by way of teas. Okay? You can also get them in by way of powders or capsules. Okay? I tend to like the tinctures better. Especially the tinctures that are cured in the alcohol, because I feel like it makes it more potent and I feel as if it gets into the bloodstream easier. Okay, but any which way you choose to use your adaptogen herbs, the main importance is that you get the adaptogens in your system to help you combat the stress that's maybe impacting your body. Okay, so panax ginseng is very good, reishi mushroom, maca root, okay, holy basil, rhodiola, and ashwagandha, okay, lemon balm, valerian root, kava kava, saffron, okay, holy basil, okay. All of these are wonderful adaptogenic herbs that I encourage you to research and look further into, okay, because they can be very helpful to your system if you are experiencing any hormonal imbalances, if you are experiencing any nervous system imbalances, okay. The endocrine system and nervous system communicate constantly. Chronic stress can influence cortisol levels, sleep patterns, mood, energy production, thyroid function, reproductive hormones, hair growth cycles. Supporting the nervous system and the endocrine system through lifestyle changes such as nutrition, stress management, and appropriate herbal support may help create a healthier internal environment. Okay? So we see how what the nervous system needs is not too far off from what the endocrine system needs, the hormonal system, okay? And we see that the foundation is proper nutrition, okay? And then also proper rest, proper movement, okay? And then also stress management, okay? Okay, let's see where we are here. So we just did discuss the adaptogenic herbs, okay? Like I did say, I encourage you to look up adaptogenic herbs and see what may fit you the best, okay? And a lot of times the herbs are a lot more powerful when they are used in combination with each other. They work synergistically. So it's very important that you research and find out about the adaptogenic herbs and see what can work best for you, okay? Let's see, scalp massage. Scalp massaging is so very important. A lot of times, a lot of tension gets stored in our scalp, okay? A lot of blockages can get stored in our scalp. So a lot of people don't understand that the circulation and the massaging, it does help to promote hair growth. But what you're also in turn doing is strengthening the muscles and the tissues of the scalp as well, okay? So this facilitates a better healing process, and it helps to cut down on inflammation that may be trying to store in the scalp and the follicles, okay? Anti-inflammatory nutrition, okay? A lot of the foods that have a lot of sugars, a lot of dairy in them can be very, very inflammatory, okay? So I would encourage you, we will go into non-inflammatory foods in a future live. I will line that up with the digestive system when we do a live on that here in Crown Conversations. But for now, I'm going to just touch lightly on it. And so anti-inflammatory nutrition, I want to encourage ones listening to go ahead and look this up. Anti-inflammatory foods, okay? So that you can make sure that the foods that you're consuming are not causing inflammation, okay? Because inflammation is the foundation of illnesses, okay? So we want to cut out all forms of inflammation, okay? And we can do that primarily by way of the foods that we consume, okay? So we want to look up anti-inflammatory foods, okay? And then movement. We did speak about exercise. Exercise is fundamental, especially when we are talking in terms of the sleep cycle. Okay, without the body getting enough movement during the day, it's very hard for the body to know to go and rest. Okay, when the body is always resting throughout the day. So movement is very important, not only in getting rid of stress, but helping the body to be on a natural sleep cycle. Okay. And then, of course, breath work, okay? We did discuss in our previous live here on Crown Conversations where we have stifled breathing, where we're so tense that we're not breathing deeply and oxygenating the body. So we want to take time throughout the day to take time throughout the day to make sure that we're really oxygenating our body, that we're getting those deep, deep breaths down all the way into our core, okay? So that we can make sure that the body, the cells are getting the proper oxygen. And this in turn is helping to balance the nervous system. This in turn is helping to balance the hormonal and endocrine system, okay? And then, of course, prayer and mindfulness, okay? We did discuss affirmations, okay, and thought forms, creating our realities, okay, and how change can be very hard when you're on a healing journey. And so that we want to pray for strength along the way, strength to change, okay? We want to pray for strength to make the necessary changes we need for a better health. Okay? Now, these are different things that will aid in the endocrine system, okay? Functioning optimally, okay? These do not necessarily treat hormonal disorders. Okay, so if you have symptoms that are extending, past this, it's very important that you go and have a medical checkup to check your levels and to see exactly what's going on. Okay, but these holistic remedies and practices can only aid and help in the regulating of these systems and improvement of your health, okay? But if you have extended circumstances, you may need to go into the doctor and have your levels checked, okay? When someone sits in my chair, these signs tell me to recommend them to a medical evaluation alongside their hair care. So a lot of times there will be clients who they in fact still need to be in a physician's care, and so I work alongside the physician to assist with the client's wellness, okay? So if I see things such as sudden excessive shedding, missing eyebrows, persistent fatigue, irregular menstrual cycles, adult acne, excess facial hair, unexplained weight changes, hair loss after childbirth, and chronic stress. Okay, so these are some of the things that I look for, and some of the things that do stand out to me when client sits in my chair, as far as them having hormonal disruptions. Okay. So I would like for you to ask yourself, have you noticed more shedding? Are you experiencing postpartum or menopause? Have you seen changes in your hair? And have you had your thyroid checked? Okay. And do you wake up tired every day? Those are some things that I would like for you to ask yourself. Okay. So now I would like to just go through some affirmations. Oh, but before we do this, I want to touch back on this real quick because I just did see this. I just did see this today. And we spoke about previously some of the products lining the shelves that are causing different hormonal disruptors, cleansers, shampoos, lotions, what have you. Okay. But this was really alarming to me today. Okay. So I'm going to play this for you. And so let's just listen to it. So we're speaking about hormonal disruptors in the products, in some of our clothes, and some of the things that we use in our foods. Okay. But this one really stood out to me. Okay. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
A new study finds harmful cancer-causing chemicals in certain synthetic braiding hair products. Channel 2's Audrey Washington spoke with some health experts and social justice scholars about why those harmful products, Audrey, are mostly marketed to Black women.
Right, the report about cancer-causing chemicals found in synthetic braiding hair is sending shockwaves through the beauty industry. But now, some health professionals believe these products that are targeted to Black women and girls specifically are a form of environmental racism.
You can dress it up or down because of the curls.
By now, we've all seen them. The flashy beauty supply ads usually displayed in Black neighborhoods that promote braiding hair products. But recently, some of those products were tested and the results are disturbing.
Not knowing if I may be a candidate of cancer in the future or now, I don't know.
A Consumer Reports study found cancer-causing chemicals in all 10 brands of braiding hair tested. 3 had the chemical benzene.
Benzene is mostly linked to leukemias.
Chemist and Emory University professor of environmental health, Carmen Marcet, explained how the chemical disrupts the body.
And it's this chemical that can go in and bind to your DNA and lead to mutations. And so it's that could go on to form a cancer.
We reached out to all 10 companies whose products were tested. Only 2 responded. Both companies stated their products are safe and questioned the testing methods. But Dr. Marset says benzene doesn't need to be ingested in order to be harmful.
It's near your face, so that's in your breathing zone.
In 2024, I first spoke with Dr. Marset after the FDA proposed a ban on certain chemical hair straighteners that were found to cause cancer. Those products mostly marketed and used by Black women and girls. So I had to ask, is the placement of these products in majority Black communities a form of environmental racism?
I think it plays a big part. I mean, it's really a history of these types of products being marketed to Black women.
It's the pollutant, it's the toxin.
Professor Dr. Tara Taylor with Morehouse College.
I would definitely say that racism is at the core with regards to when any time a particular group is disproportionately impacted.
This is, in my mind, a public health emergency.
Dermatologist Dr. Aaliyah Brown has treated patients who developed serious scalp and hair rashes from synthetic braids. She says the rashes combined with the new cancer risk should sound health alarms nationwide.
Unfortunately, there also are some biases that exist with healthcare and people of color and disparities.
Hairstylist Dion James tells me she developed health issues after decades of braiding and inhaling fumes from synthetic hair.
I have suffered from benign tumors, so now I'm starting to think that maybe it may correlate to the hair.
Is this braiding hair poisoning Black women?
Of course it is.
Abayomi Jones is a physician and an attorney. She's done research on harmful hair care products in the Black community.
These manufacturers and producers, they understand what is in these products, but the consumer doesn't understand. So it's a blatant pulling the wool over our eyes.
Now most of the
calling it a health emergency.
A new study finds harmful cancer-causing chemicals in certain synthetic braiding hair products.
Okay, so we see here that the braiding here is causing all kinds of issues, carcinogens. Okay, let's look up what this ingredient is in this braiding here. Let's see if this in fact is a hormonal disruptor, because meanwhile they're speaking about all of these health defects coming from braiding hair. Can this be also a culprit as to why so many people's hormones have been scrambled as well? Okay, and here is it. Benzene is an industrial, chemical, and environmental pollutant that studies linked to potential hormone disrupting activity, metabolic changes, and reproductive health effects. Though traditional regulatory screenings show mixed data on direct estrogen or androgen receptor pathways. Hormone disruption. Research suggests everyday low-level exposure may interfere with normal hormone signaling pathways. Metabolic changes. Exposure can affect fat tissue and lead to tissues like insulin resistance or abnormal lipid levels. Reproductive concern. Studies link the chemical to potential adverse reproductive and developmental outcomes. Okay, so we see here not only is this carcinogen causing this chemical coming from the braiding hair, but it's also a huge hormone disruptor. Okay, so when we think in terms of women who have been using this hair year after year after year, braiding their hair, okay, this is also causing hormonal disruptions in the braiding hair. Okay, this is very important information to know. Okay, because this hair is everywhere, and they're classifying it as an attack, or a racist attack, by supplying this toxic hair, knowing that there is only a certain community that primarily uses this hair. Okay, so as we can see, society as a whole is not going to look out for our greatest good. They're not going to look out for our best health. So it's very important that we do this research and that we equip ourselves to the best ability possible. Okay. So we're getting ready to wrap up this live today, and we have been speaking about the endocrine system. We covered a lot of ground, all of the different branches of the endocrine and hormonal system, some of the hormonal disruptors found in products, found in our food and the clothing that we wear, and environmentally. Okay, we talked about some adaptogenic herbs that can help the body to combat stress, that will in turn throw off the hormonal and endocrine system. Okay, and then we also talked about some practices that help to keep the body system, the hormonal system balanced. Okay, by way of proper nutrition, proper rest. Okay, and by way of our diet, the way that we eat. Okay, and movement, exercise. Okay, and also breathing, breath work, meditation. All of these different things help to keep our hormones balanced. Okay, and we also want to reflect and ask ourselves, have we noticed any shedding? Okay, have we experienced menopause or postpartum hair changes? Have we ever had our thyroid checked? And do we wake up tired every day? We want to check in with ourselves and ask ourselves these things, because if the answer is yes, then we may have some issues with our hormonal system. Okay, so I just want to read a few things here. Okay, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Okay? Do what you can with what you have where you are. Okay? So these are powerful affirmations, words of affirmation, because our thoughts very much do manifest. So we want to make sure that we're watching our thought forms and that we are thinking in a way that is promoting healing. Okay? And thinking in a way that is signaling the right signals to our different body systems, our nervous system, our hormonal system. All of our thoughts transfer those signals for those different body systems. Okay? And we also want to do what we can with what we have where we currently are. Okay? So a lot of people put off their healing process. They feel like they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they don't have whatsoever it is. So we want to always work from a place of doing what we can with what we have where we currently are. Okay? So you can start your healing process from wherever place, from wherever you are, whatever you have. Okay? So I want to encourage you, if you are in need of a consultation, if you are experiencing hair loss, thinning, scalp disorders, scalp diseases, and you are in need of assistance so that you can develop a treatment plan for yourself and get on the road to recovery and get some relief and some answers, please feel free to DM me, or you can also go to the link in my bio and you can book a consultation. I'll be more than happy to sit with you and assist you in your processes. Also, there are products here, the Return to Anagen. There is a product here for every issue. I've developed these products to take the guesswork out for you so that you don't have to have your hardware scrambled when you go into the beauty supplies, when you go into the stores and you don't know what to get for your hair. Okay, this is the Return to Anagen product line that is developed for persons experiencing scalp disorders, scalp diseases, hair loss, thinning. Okay, it's also developed for persons who have natural hair and who have locks. Okay, so Return to Anagen. Return to Anagen is the growth phase of the hair, it is the vitality of the hair. Okay. So that is where we want the hair to always return to in the growth cycle, Return to Anagen. And these products are developed to assist in that area. Okay. Okay. Never, 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 never give up. Okay. With the right mentality, with the right attitude, okay, everyone can heal, okay? Let your heart guide you. It whispers, so listen closely, okay? Love is the intention of your innermost being who wants the best for you and is your guide and caretaker. Connect and listen to the hardest voice to hear. Okay, that is so profound and beautiful. Okay, so it has been excellent being here with you today. Again, my name is April E. Diggs. I am the owner and founder here at Songs There Health Trichology Beauty. Okay. And today we just did discuss the hormones, the endocrine system, the glandular system here today on Crown Conversations, okay? And our next episode of Crown Conversations, we will be discussing cleansing and detoxing, okay? This is foundational in starting the healing process, okay? And here in Crown Talks, Crown Conversations, we will discuss all things pertaining to health as it pertains to the hair. So it will be rather extensive, and we will cover different ground on each live, discussing all the different body systems, because the body is a holistic unit. And if one system is out of alignment, it throws everything else out of alignment. So it's very important for us to educate ourselves on these wonderful, intelligent bodies that we've been giving that require a lot of care. Okay. So I just want to close with today. Hair doesn't exist in isolation. Your follicles are listening to your hormones, your nervous system, your nutrition, and your overall health every single day. At Songs There, we believe true hair restoration begins by understanding the whole person, not just the hair. Okay? So it's very important that we focus on the body, okay? Because the hair is just an extension of the body. Okay, so I want to thank everyone today for being here for another episode of Crown Conversations, and I look to see you again soon. Like I did say, you can go to the link in my bio if you are in need of consultation, okay, or if you are in need of products to assist with whatever may be going on with your scalp and hair. I have a product here for every issue, okay? You can also catch this live on YouTube, Okay, so you can go to YouTube and go to Songs There, Health, Trichology, Beauty, and all of these lives, Crown Conversations will be there for you to view. Okay, so everyone have a wonderful evening. This is Songs There, Health, Trichology, Beauty, and I wish for everyone to be whole, be healed, be blessed, and be well. Until we meet again. Okay, everyone have a pleasant evening. And please remember to focus on your health. Your health is most certainly your most precious wealth. Okay, and this is not to say that we don't want to be wealthy, but what good is wealth without a good health? You see it? All right. So be whole, be healed, be blessed, be well. Take good care.